Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and today we are reviewing a bottle that I know nothing about. Today we are reviewing a bottle that I think comes from Oklahoma, and a bourbon whiskey I know cost me $100. There may not be a lot of information on this bottle, so I'm doing my duty to open this son of a bee and tell you if it impresses me. Today we are reviewing Leadslingers 10-year bourbon whiskey. I have seen Leadslingers products on the shelf before, but I've never picked one up. I've never been tempted to. I don't know why, I just haven't. But when I saw this bottle on a shelf with the ginormic 10 on it, I was like, the heck is that? And then for a few weeks I did a bunch of research and I was like, still no idea, still no clue. But then I ran into it today for $99.99, which was $10 cheaper than I've ever seen it before, and I thought, I must have that. I must have that. Unless, of course, it was a mistake. But we're about to find out, for goodness sake. On this bottle, it says, Leadslingers aged 10 years. Bourbon whiskey, 750 milliliters, 58.5% alcohol by volume. So 117 proof, 10-year-old bourbon. How bad could it be? It's gotta be good. And then on the back label, all it says is aged 10 years. Bourbon whiskey, distilled from grain. The last part has me a bit worried. Bottled by Scissortail Distillery, Moore, Oklahoma. And since it doesn't say what state it's distilled in, by law that means it must have been distilled in Oklahoma. I guess let's just take the wax off the top and find out if I wasted $100. How do you even get into this? How do you even... Oh boy. Oh boyka. Oh boy. This isn't gonna be easy. Oh, come on. Leadslingers 10 year. America. So what I did do was went on their website and found out a little bit about Leadslingers. Turns out it's a company owned by a bunch of military veterans. So, if you ever watch this video, thank you for your service. And from what I read, they're like some pretty big military badasses too. So, thank you for being badasses. I just hope this is good. To be totally honest, hope it's good. Given this 10-year Oklahoma Sooner? I don't know. Given this Oklahoma bourbon, an Oklahoma SJ. That's right, a little bit of a spin job. The first one ever performed on an Oklahoma distillate, or what I assume is an Oklahoma distillate. Before I nose or taste this, if this is actually distilled in Oklahoma and has been aging there for 10 years, congratulations for having some 10-year-old distillate. Nosing time. Huh? High C fruit punch. How in the hell does that smell exactly like high C fruit punch? No, a Capri Sun. It's very bright, very fruity, very juicy. Those characteristics don't typically come with a big age statement. Noses like this typically come with a younger age statement, something that is younger than 10 years. This nose is confusing me. This isn't about their 10-year product, but this is about their bourbon. Says, our bourbon whiskey brings a light bourbon flavor from its single barrel aging process. How would you have anything other than a single barrel aging process? How would you have anything other than that? How would you... Double distilled and handcrafted in Moore, Oklahoma. This small batch whiskey melds sophistication and down-home flavors, delivering hints of oak, toffee, and vanilla. It's sure to satisfy even the most distinguishing taster. Am I the most distinguished taster? Well, I am the world's top whiskey taster. But distinguished? I don't think anybody's ever called me that. It's a handcrafted, double-distilled, small-batch, single-barrel aging process. Whatever the hell that means. This is a nose that has me wondering what the hell this is going to taste like. To be totally fair, I was not expecting this. Now there's a little bit of like cinnamon atomic fireball. A little bit of cinnamon fireball, like the atomic fireball that you put in your mouth and you suck on for 4 days. Then you eventually bite it and break 3 of your teeth. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This doesn't smell like it's 10 years old. The nose has me intrigued. It has me intrigued. Like some of those adult video stores on the side of the highway. You're like, well, I don't know about that. Leadslingers 10-year. Single barrel aging processed small batch. Down the hatch. The nose and the palate match. They do kind of match. It's bright. It's fruity. After smelling it, I knew it wasn't going to be what I wanted. But after tasting it, yeah. I wish I knew the mash bill of this. I wish I knew the mash bill or what type of barrel it was aged in, just so it made more sense. Going back to the nose, and it's teeter-tottering on like young and grainy and farmy, and like fruity and sweet and acceptable. And it's just teetering there. Sometimes I smell it and I'm like, ooh. Other times I smell it and I'm like, ew. I'll give it this, the nose does change quite a bit. Going from like cinnamon to Capri Sun to farmland to grain. I bet you there's some people out there that really like this stuff. It's a little astringent, a little alcohol forward, but it's not lighting your palate up and like making you go, wow. That was a box. Box of something. If anybody out there knows more about this, like more of their process or what exactly they're doing in Oklahoma, how exactly they're producing this, I would love to know. And leave a comment in the comments below with all the information you have. Will I go back to this whiskey and taste it a ton? Probably not. Probably not. Am I happy I bought it? Not really. This video turned out to be pretty difficult to make, considering I know nothing about this product. Not taking price into consideration, just the bourbon by itself, today I give Leadslingers 10-year a score of another $100 whiskey on my shelf that I'm just not sure about. Jeez. Maybe I'll do a blind flight of $100 whiskeys that I have that aren't my favorite, just to see which one of them is my favorite of my not favorite $100 whiskeys. That'd be a good one. My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey, and like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on, just putting yourself out there once in a while, taking a chance once in a while. I knew nothing about this bottle at all, and I tried so hard to find out about it, but I couldn't. Then eventually I was like, you know what? Give me that bottle. I'll trade you $100 for it. And they were like, no, you won't, because there is taxes. And I was like, that's right. So I shelled out a bunch of cash for something I knew nothing about. And I do not regret it, but also sort of regret it. But sometimes you just gotta do it for the people. If I'm looking at it on a shelf and wondering, that means that some of you out there are looking at it on a shelf and wondering. So go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the thumbs up and get the heck out of here, you silly goose. Go find something productive to do. And if that sounds like too much work, then just go ahead and watch a whole bunch more of my videos.